Hello, this is Padge and welcome to another episode of Padge Plays Indie Edition with the game Gloom Digital Edition by Gloom Digital. This is a game based on one of my favourite physical card games which I came across, about 4 or 5 years ago. A little bit of a hint, I watched a series on, what was it called now? It's one of those big channels. Anyway, it was called Tabletop, featuring Will Wheaton of Big Bang Theory fame and Star Trek The Next Generation, if you are as old as I am. That's where I originally knew him from. And in that series, they played through a whole load of different games I never heard of. And this is one of the ones which caught my eye. It's an interesting card game where you have a family and you've got to make them as miserable as possible, and you're competing against other families and people who are trying to make their families as miserable as possible before eventually killing them off through certain unscrupulous and nasty ways. It's an interesting game. There's one disadvantage with this version which you don't get compared to the physical version, and that's the stories that you can spin whilst playing the different cards with different writing on. This game moves pretty quick and it's hard to actually take all the filler text in because you're trying to figure out what the modifiers and what's actually happening with the cards that are being played at the time. But I'll go into all that as we crack on. Speaking of cracking on, let's do this. I love the aesthetics of this. That's the one thing they've got spot on. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a shame that they haven't slowed the game down a little, but hey ho. Let's not dwell on that. Play. We're going to play. As you can see, you've got solo. You can play online if you want to. I believe you do have to set up a special account, but that's something which is free to do. But yet another account you have to manage, so that's always good fun. And the tutorial, I am going to do my best to explain what's going on as and when it happens. We'll do it on the fly. I think it's a bit easier than me spending 20 minutes trying to explain everything to you now. So there will be times where I probably won't be paying attention too much to what's going on in the game because I'm trying to explain what's going on the turn before. But things get repetitive in the game, so much so that we should be able to cover most things by the end of play. So crack on solo. Now there is an expansion out at the moment on Steam. It is Unhappy Homes. I'm not going to be playing that this time around. We'll be looking at next time around. It's a way that we can all take in what's going on this time on the vanilla game, and from a personal perspective it means I can wrangle another episode out of this at a later point. So that's all good for everyone involved. And we have our families. This is Dark's Den of Deformity, based on some circus folk. We have the Slogers, which is your typical sort of crazy scientist family. We have the Blackwater clan, just a group of ne'er-do-wells up to no good. And then we have the Wellington Smythes, which is sort of like your sort of Addams Family-esque family. We're going to be playing with Dark's Den of Deformity because I think they're the most interesting as far as the different characters are concerned. And well, yes, let's crack on, shall we? Because of it being against 4 or 3 other bots, it means that all 4 families are going to be played anyway. And this be it. Right, so it's quite a lot to be taking in initially, so I will try and break this down as best I can. Essentially, this is your family here. You can have a look at them all, and these cards in the physical version are actually see-through. So where it's sort of greyish, that is a transparent card. Now, when you play your cards, which you are dealt 5 of at the start of the game, which are down here, as you can see, they have different modifiers on. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative. The negative ones are the important ones. These are the ones which make your family less and less happy. Sometimes they come with little things you need to pay attention to at the bottom, but again, we'll cover those as and when we go. And then besides these, we have the death cards. These death cards can only be played on your first turn of your round. There are 2 turns in a round before it goes on to the next person. There are ways of having more turns, but that's to do with other cards which currently we don't have, so I won't go too deeply into that. And yes, the aim of the game is to get your family as miserable as possible whilst putting positive points onto other families in order to make sure that they don't get as many points as you or negative points as you, and therefore that's how you win the game. And the game ends when an entire family has been killed off. Not necessarily yours, but as soon as one entire family is completely dead and a player is taken out of the game, that's when the game ends and you tot up your points. So let's have a quick look at our family, see who we're playing with. We have Darius Dark, the sinister ringmaster. The carnivore is in his blood, and there's quite a lot of blood in his carnival. We then have Mr. Giggles, the creepy clown. Mr. Giggles always has a smile for the children. Oh dear. And then we have Alessandra Deville, the illustrated lady. Sadly, Alessandra's modesty prevents her from sharing her remarkable tattoos with the world. Very inconvenient, I'm sure you agree. And then we have Samson O'Toole, the bearded man. While the bearded ladies are always popular, few people seem interested in Samson's remarkable deformity. Well, he can't grow a moustache, that's for sure. And then we have Thumbelissa, the diminutive diva. Darius Dark would have been wiser to promote Thumbelissa's minute size instead of her mediocre operatic talents. Now, all of these families have these different little things about them, flavor text, if you will. I'm not going to go into these this time around. I'll do that on the next playthrough, because there's a few of them. So we need to crack on. So as I said, we have 2 goes. Now if you don't for any reason want to play any of your 2 goes, and you can do it whichever order you want, you can skip an action, which is this button on the left hand side here. If you've got really terrible cards and you can't do anything with it on this go or possibly the next go, depending on what you've been given, you can discard your entire hand, which means you'll get fresh cards at the end of this round to play on your next round. And that's about it. Let's crack on, shall we? So what do we have? Out of these 2 negative trait cards we have here, we'll come to the one on the end in a second. This one is the better one to use. Although you've only got the 1 negative trait on it, there isn't anything which is going to be like a prerequisite for using that card at the bottom. Just a little bit of flavor text, which means we can play that and there'll be no penalties towards us at all. Whereas this one, which is a more powerful card because it has twice the negative points on, means that if we do draw it, if we do use it, we are only allowed to draw 4 cards instead of 5. And the one on the end, if we were to play that, which is it's evenly matched, I suppose, a -10 and a -20, I have to choose which 3 cards I want to get rid of out of my hand. I do get to choose another 3 cards. Well, I don't get to choose. I have another 3 cards dealt to me at the end of my go, but that is classed as a negative trait because you may have to give up other cards which you want to keep in order to play a more powerful one. As it stands, these 2 are the best ones to play. Now, as you can see, these negative traits, I keep using the wrong word there. These minus points come in 3 different sections. You have a top, a middle, and a bottom, and depending on the card, they are placed in different places. This goes true for the positive traits as well, and it's a way of you being able to even out as many of your points as possible without concentrating them all on the one go, and that's basically what you should be doing. If I was to place, say, this one on top of this one, I would get the -20 on the bottom because there's nothing covering that. I would get the -15 in the middle because there's nothing covering that. But depending on which way I put these onto one of these character cards, I'd either get the -15 because it's on top of this card, or if I put this card on top of the other one, it'd be -10, essentially making me lose 5 points. So you really have to think about which cards you're going to play in what order. And the other thing to take into account is you can only play death cards on your first go. You can't play it on your second unless you have a modifier card, or an event card, should I say, which we don't have at the moment. But that's enough jibber jabber. That's a lot of explaining. It's probably best to just start playing and show you. So we are going to let our ringmaster lose a limb.
Well, that's show business.
He was galled by gangrene. So there's the flavor text. Who wants to lose a limb? Now, when you were playing the physical game, this is when you'd make a little story on how he lost his limb, or what was to lead up to him losing his limb, and it just makes it a little bit more of an interesting game, something which sadly is lost in the digital version. We are now going to play, I think, this one here. I can afford to lose having 5 cards right now because we've got enough choice. I don't really want to be getting rid of my death cards right now, so I'm going to play was jinxed by gypsies on the bearded man. I mean, he's got a terrible jinx already, growing no moustache, so it makes sense to be jinxed by gypsies. And that is our go gone, and because we've got the modifier down, which means we only get 4 cards, we only get 1 drawn, and it goes on to the red family, and that's why I'm going to list them out. I'm not going to list the bots' names. So what the red family's done is they've plussed me out on top of the card I had on there before. So not only do I lose the
I'm
points
better than
underneath, but I get the
this.
positive points on top. Right pain in the tragedies for us. So we don't want him to die anytime soon, or else we're going to get plus 10 points, which is actually minus 10 points for us, which isn't good, really, isn't good. It's all about the negatives. It's all about the negatives. So that is a strong card to play, but it means that when he finishes his go, he won't be able to draw any cards, so he'll be stuck with the 3 cards he has, unless there's a modifier on another card which is dealt on him in the meantime. And that last card meant, bear with me, we'll go back one, so we can, well, we can't, we'll check it out in a second, but basically, because he played a good card, he had to give a card to the person before. Oh my life. That's not a good start for us. Right, it should be my go now, and I'll explain exactly what happened there. So there's a death card in the pile, which is called Died Without Cares. Basically, it just bottoms everything out to 0 and kills that person off. So not only do we get no points at all, it actually makes us one family member less to be able to play with, which in turn means that we can gather less points, because we can't spread them out over as many characters as the others, which is a real crappy card to have right at the start of the game. And who dealt me that? Because I think I'm going to be concentrating on them. Purple. Right, in fact, let's go back to the overview. This is the overview screen. Here you can see what is on all the different cards within the game at the moment. As it stands, we are being seriously shafted. Purple's got nothing at all. Green's got just -10. Red's got -15. Can we concentrate on ourselves at all? I mean, not only did we lose all our negative trait cards, but we lost a player as well. I mean, there's not a lot we can do here. We've got a positive card now, which is good. So if we were to play this on someone, say for instance the red one here, they would be on +5, because 20 minus 15 is 5, but they would also get the advantage of being able to draw 2 cards straight away for their next go, which isn't ideal, because they have an awful lot of cards anyway. Saying that though, I don't think there's anyone else who's going to be worth playing. I suppose we could do green a favour. We'd knock out their -10 and give them 20 and give them 2 cards. Or you know what? We're going to be a right bastard. We're going to kill off their dog. I can't kill off their dog. All right, fine. I will give them the 20 points on that. So they're going to get 2 cards now. That's fine by me. And I get 1 go left. Come play a death card. So that pretty much makes them useless for us at the moment, because we're on all positive traits. I might as well give someone some negative traits. Probably my ringmaster again. There we go. So he is super high. -30. That'd be good if we could kill him off. But we are going to have to give up both our cards, which is fine. That's our go gone. And we should get, I think it's 5 again now, because we lost the modifier. Yes. And we have an event card. I will go into that in a second. Red family. What are you going to do?
Nothing will stop.
They killed off their character for only 15 points, which is very low, actually. Hey ho. And we have a modifier card. Wow, that's a strong card. Now, that card that was played on my bearded man, where it blanked everything out, that's the time you would play that card on a character like that, because that's ridiculous. I would presume the red family's got a few death cards and they're going to try and kill him off on their next go. So this is where all the other characters should get together and try and nullify that one character to make sure they don't score high.
My poor
Wow. And even that card now, that's ridiculous. They've got a very full hand. Right.
We don't discuss these
Right,
things.
so nothing to worry about too much there. It's a strong card, that's for sure.
Butterfield, a restorative, please.
Grew old without grace. Not too bad. They lose a few cards, but again, they're going to draw now anyway, so that's no problems on their behalf. Right, so let's have a look at this event card. What do we have? Oh, we played it. Right, basically, it's going to give us an... that was a pain in the ass. I wanted to put it up. Let me say... Right, no, but... Right, so misfortunes favours the old. Basically, I have been given an extra turn, so I've got 3 goes now rather than the 2, and I can play death cards whenever I want. But we don't have death cards, so we're not going to worry too much about that. Right, we need to try and counteract some of this. So, plus 10 plus 5. Well, I think it goes without saying we need to play that onto that card and nullify the top 2 high ones. Which is fine. Give them a couple of cards. They got none. That's fine. And then who had the other powerful one? Minus 30 there. Minus 30 there. We've only got 10 in the middle to play, so... I suppose ultimately it doesn't matter too much. Green's got quite a few positives on their cards already, so I'm not too worried about this. I think we should concentrate on purple. So with that being said, I think we'll go for the butler.
Very good, sir.
So still at minus 20 on each card there, which is a bit of a booger. But it's nullified a little bit. As far as my last turn's concerned, I could do with the draw. I can discard my entire hand. I can skip the draw this turn. Both are pretty crappy in all fairness. I'm going to go with skipping my draw phase this turn. And we'll pop that on our illustrated lady who likes to cover up.
Please don't let them eat me.
She was taunted by tigers, you know. Alright, so what's the red family going to do? They're aiming at the green family. Imaginary friend. Right, that is a nice...
I'm the luckiest kid in the world.
Not really. That is a nice card. Essentially, what's just happened is that event card has classed that character as an imaginary friend and deleted him out of the entire game. so those points have gone. That character's gone. It's been killed off, but not killed off in a way. It's just not in the game anymore. You'll see it when it comes back around. There'll be a gap where that character was. It's a nasty card to play. Again, I feel played a little bit early. See, as you can see, it's only got the 4 there now rather than leave mine alone, please.
I do like to gamble.
Yeah, I'll get a card. I suppose it's not too bad. Ooh. Not very useful.
This is Mordecai's fault. Where is that boy?
Was beaten by beggars. Right. We'll see what happens here. Fell from on high. Right, so they took the 20 points there. Can't blame them. Gets them on the board.
I don't want to trouble the children.
Suffered from sores. They have 1 less draw. That's, again, nothing to worry about too much. So it's my turn. I think it's time to kill off a character. We're gonna kill off the ringleader, I think. That should put us into first position. Now, ultimately, what I'd like to have done is to have used an icon on this one of these. At the bottom here where it says worth an additional -10 with the beast icon. There are certain icons which fall on each character. So you've got the coins on that one, you've got a skull on that one, there's a goblet on that one, and there is a beast one, which I think is a bat. Can we see it? Oh, you got the love icon. Has no one got the bat icon? No one's got the bat icon. Okay. And again, they're like mini modifiers. There are certain things on certain cards which can affect the points which are scored on that card. But as it stands, we're not going to get the bonus 10 points, but we'll get 30 points, which will pull us ahead.
It's curtains for me.
I'm sorry. Nice. That's good. That's good. So we're ahead now. That's fine. We're on the board. And that leaves us with one, which is to discard our entire hand and skip the draw, which means nothing anyway because, well, we've got no cards left. So let's pop that onto Mr. Giggles. And we've got a marriage icon on that, which is fine. Had a horrible holiday. Must have got married. One of those Vegas weddings, no doubt. So Red Family's playing on themselves. And they killed themselves off. Discard your entire hand. That was powerful. So that's the red turns over. They got 2 killed off. The greens aren't doing particularly well. Ooh, killed themselves off for the -15, and I get to play another untimely death card. Now, as I said before, usually you can't play untimely death cards on a... Oh, decide to discard their entire hand instead. Now, usually you can't play a untimely death card on your second go unless a card allows you to, which it would have there if they had better cards. Wow, they're all dying off. Wow, purple's really pushing it now. Discard all modified cards on one living character. So that was an event card, which is taking him back to 0. That's fine, as long as it doesn't throw him out the game. That's a-okay. But I am scuppered because I have no cards. So that's my go done. Hey ho. And this is the nature of the beast when it comes to this
I
game.
never thought I'd love a game.
It is purely luck based because you don't know what cards you're going to get, and if you're in a decent enough group of people who don't all gang up on you for no particular reason, it can flip on well, a flip of a dime, a spin of a dime. The game can go for you from being a very, very bad game where it looks like you're going to come dead last to just spinning around and suddenly you're up there with the rest of them. But as I said, and something which you've hopefully noticed when it comes to my YouTube channel is that I like to play games where there's a bit of a story, or we can at least make a story out of it. And that's why I like the physical version of this. Some of the dark tales you can weave, especially if you've got similarly minded or dark-minded people playing with you. It can be very humorous. And it's a relatively cheap game as well, because it's a card game. It's not like you're going to be spending upwards of £30-40 on it. It's, £10-15. You've got everything you need, plus the add-ons if you want to go that way. So, what's going on with third?
How could this happen?
Not too bad. For him, anyway, not for us.
That's corn in the cook pot.
Landed a legacy. Not a bad positive trait. The fact that guy gets 2 cards isn't too bad at all. He's drawing back up. So it's our go. We better have a look at these cards. What do we have? We have positive, negative. Only give 1 card from your hand to the previous player, which is purple. In fact, we've got a hell of a lot of positive cards. Or we have a negative card. Discard your entire hand. I think I am going to work on us. So let us play the -10 on our tattooed lady. That'll get rid of that +15.
Oh, phooey.
And one of our cards will randomly disappear. Hopefully not our -25. Of course it's our -25. The only one I wanted to keep. Okay, so we need to play a plus card. I mean, go big or go home, right? So, they're on +5. 15. I don't think red's doing that bad. Purple's the big one at the moment. Minus 25 or minus 30. Oh no, no one's dead. So minus 25. What can we play? Have 15 points.
I never thought I'd love again.
Was married magnificently. There we go. Right. We could really do some death cards. We need to start killing off our own characters. Otherwise we're going to be left behind.
Mother will pay for it.
Down, boy.
Excuse me. I've got a bit of a throat at the moment, so I'm not talking too loud either. Yes, well, this always seems to happen to me. I've had a couple of games off camera to be able to set everything up, make sure the sounds and everything's all right and the screen looks okay. And I've had pretty good games. I've come first or second, and this isn't looking good. This isn't looking good. Purple's starting to worry me.
That's funny.
Discard your entire hand. I mean, that's not too bad. That means his goes over. But we really need some death cards. It seems like we're not being rewarded with decent death cards or event cards at the moment. It's all modifiers. And modifiers are great, but you can't actually do anything unless you start killing off people. If anything, you are putting cards down, especially negative ones on yourself, which is giving people reason, or the bots reason to aim at you when it comes to their go. Which isn't ideal. So what do we want to do? You know what, let's check out the purples again. So minus 25 on the twins. There's minus 40 on the daughter in the green family. I mean, that's pretty bad. We can't negate it completely. We could play that on there.
Well, ain't you sweet?
Thanks. And they're only get a minus 5 now, which isn't too bad. I mean, do I want to work on my own here? I think I need to get rid of some cards. So let's play this one, which is randomly discard 2 cards from your hand. And we'll play that on the Thumbelissa. And that means that we're going to get rid of 2 and we should be drawing 3 now. And hopefully we'll get some death cards on top of that. That'll do. So we might be able to rack in some points. Yeah, I thought red might do that. So that's 30 points to them. Never returned. Caca. 70 points. An unpleasant surprise. Choose one living character.
No less than
Oh,
I
thanks.
deserve.
Yeah, great. Pick on 3rd place, why don't you? That was bad. That was bad. Oh,
whoa,
was
it's
plagued by the
me.
pox. That is a great card to use on that one. So all they get is 1 less card to draw, yet the points on that is ever so high. They've just got to hope that no one's going to aim at that one until it can be killed off. Which I'm sure purple will try and cover now. So they can play 2 additional cards this round, so they have 3 goes now rather than just the 2. And they can play death cards in whatever
Time for a nap.
no, that's another one dead. So they can play any more death cards they want whenever they want now. Which is bad.
Beastly things.
Cancelled that one out, which is fine.
I deserve.
Don't drive
better.
and drink. This is very bad. This is very bad. I mean, I could get some points. I mean, both red and purple are bad. Bad. What's purple looking like? Minus 15. That one's on 0. So this one appears on minus 25. We probably need to deal with that. So let's pop that card on there.
Keep 'em coming.
Which puts him down to minus 5. But he does get 2 cards. So that's fine. That's fine. And then I guess I need to play some points on myself. Let's put that on to giggles. Sometimes having too many points can be a dangerous thing when you're pierced by porcupines. More death cards. When it rains, it pours.
That's a shovel of that.
Interesting. So they just killed themselves off for just 5 points to pull themselves equal with purple. And the bear's racked up. Ooh. Doesn't have... Oh, I was going to say, doesn't have any death cards, but does now. So unless we can put a load of positives onto that bear, it's probably going to be the end of the game next round. Wow. I'm really getting my ass kicked now. I mean, this has gone spectacularly wrong. This is like the worst I've ever played. I'm going to put it down to having to try and say what's going on as well as playing. I can't concentrate. You put me off. You put me off. Oh lordy. I mean, if anyone gets close to 100 points, that's game over as far as trying to catch them up is concerned. Especially when I've only got bloody 30 points. I don't think there's anything I can do here to not get the game to be ending on the next go of Catbot. They'll kill this off. That's what's 25, so they'll draw equal with the purples. I've never seen a draw before, but that's all I can do really. So it's a case of getting as much money as I can now. So I've got 20 and 15. Got Beast Icon, which we've got. Death Icon. Goblet Icon. Death Icon. Right, okay. So it's got to be the Beast one. It's got to be the Beast one because Mr. Giggles has a Beast Icon in the bottom right hand corner. So we'll actually get 25 points rather than 15 all in all on that. So for the sake of getting a few more points on the game. So we get to 45, then we get a plus 10 as well. 55. Slightly more respectable. And after that... I mean, there's not really a lot more I can do. There's not really a lot more I can do. I'm going to discard my hand. Get rid of them all. Start afresh. Not that I'll get to play with any of them. And now it's the red turn. And now if red's got any sense, he'll kill that off and draw equal. And there we go. That is the family completely dead. And the game is over. And that's the first time I've seen a draw. So there you go. Minus negative 100 to purple and red. And that essentially is Gloom. Now, if I click this, this is the most horrible part of the entire game. Do you already have an Asmodee account? And it asks you that every time you come back to the menu. which is a pain in the arse. You can say yes and you won't be asked to log in. You can say no and be asked to register. Or you can just press the X button and completely forget about it. But that is Gloom in a nutshell for you. There is a lot going on with not a lot to look at as far as what's going on the page, unless you actually know what's going on. So I've done my best to explain it. I do implore you though, and as I said before, the reason that I've recorded this isn't for you to go out and go and buy this game digitally. That I can't even say digitally. It's to get you interested in this game to go and buy it physically. It's a fantastic game to play with 2 to 4 people. It's relatively cheap, and it's just that little bit quirky. It's something different. You know, it beats Uno, put it that way. So thank you for watching. As always, a like is appreciated, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.